as you read Colossians chapter 3. Colossians chapter 3. I want to speak to you briefly this morning on how to help your leader. It may be a boss. How many have a job? Raise your hand. All right. It may be your boss, maybe your immediate boss, your foreman on the job. It could be your parents as your leader. How many work on bus route? Raise your hand. Could be your bus captain. Some of you work in junior church. Some of you work in Sunday school class. It could be your teacher, your leader. Wherever that leader is, I'm going to give you some practical things that you can do to help them better and to make your goal, one of your goals when you work for somebody ought to be, I want to be one of the most valuable people they have. If you call in or request a day off every other day and they don't really care if you show up, there's something wrong. If they don't need you, you're not invaluable to them. It won't be long before they say, you know what? We can find someone who we need more than you, and they'll let you go. So you ought to go to that position, wherever it is, bus cap or bus worker, Sunday school class, junior church, and be somebody that when you show up, your leader says, oh man, I sure am glad they're here, because they are a huge help and a huge blessing. Not, oh, here comes the one that's just going to sit in the corner and not do a whole lot. And I have to tell them everything to do and write it out and draw pictures. And they're just here because it's just what they do. You ought to be there to be a help. Colossians chapter 3, verse 22. Servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord, and not unto men, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. I love this. For ye serve the Lord Christ. The verse is talking about servants serving their masters, but that can be an employee serving their employer. It can be a child or a teenager serving their parents, a bus worker serving their bus captain. The servant, it tells the relationship the servant should have toward the master and some things that they should be doing while they are working for the master. And it says there that you're to do your job not with eye service as men pleasers. Meaning, I'm not doing this so that everybody will see how good I am at what I'm doing, so I can please men. Not even so my boss can see me and pat me on the back every other day and tell me how good I am. I'm not doing it for him. Continues on. Whatsoever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. Now, you're there to serve that leader, but that's not ultimately why you're there. You're there to honor and serve the Lord in whatever position you are. Because you're not serving men, you're serving the Lord. And by serving this person, this leader, you are serving the Lord. Don't work to be seen of men. I hope my boss sees me do this. I bent down and picked up some trash. I'm the most valuable employee he has. Hope he noticed that. Maybe I get a raise for doing that. I went over and above everybody else. No one else picked the trash up. And you're walking around holding the trash. Hey, I'm throwing this away. Everybody see me over here? No, that's not why you do what you do. So everybody can see you and pat you on the back. You do it just because you're serving the Lord. And you want to honor Him with what you do. Let me encourage you. Some of you are going to look for a job sometime, look for work. I remember being a teenager, my dad always told me, many of these things I'm going to share with you are things that my dad taught me when I was your age and things that I've learned on the job in different places. Don't just look for a job. Look for work. Don't just look for a ministry or a ministry position. Look for a place where you can plug yourself into and minister to somebody. You're not just looking for an excuse out of a church service. but a place where you can go and put your time and effort in and serve, whether it be some young people, whether it be some teenagers, or just go serve a worker, a teacher, and do whatever you can to help them. That's why you're there. Let me just give you some main points here, and there's a little sub-points underneath. You are there to make your leader look good and be successful. Amen. That's why you're there. You're not there so that you can be successful. Now, this more applies to a job. Everybody wants to build to grow and to work their way up the ladder. And too many people show up to work every day to make themselves successful. It's not going to work that way. You show up to work with a mindset, I am here to make my boss successful. I am here to make my boss's job easier by me being there, and make that your goal. And in doing that, I'm honoring God and serving the Lord and being a testimony wherever I am. You may never get noticed or recognition. Don't worry about that. That's not why you're there. You're not there so that everybody can pat you on the back and your name can be up on the board. This week's Junior Church Worker of the Week. It's not why you're there. You're there to work many times behind the scenes and support and work for whoever God has placed over you. I have the privilege of working for pastor and serving pastor at the church. And my job in serving Pastor Duffett at the church is to make him look good. My job is to walk into the auditorium and see things before he does and before everybody else gets there, and fix them so that when visitors come in and new people come in and church come in, folks come in, they leave and he looks good as the leader to them, and no one ever sees or notices me. Yeah. That's my job. To look at things and notice them beforehand. My job is to make your job is to make your leader's job easier and his life or her life better. Your purpose: work so your boss can do other things. My job is to come in and inspect the building and do things so that pastor can come in and only have to worry about the people and whatever else he has to do, and not have to worry about light bulbs that may be burned out. That's my job. It's not his job, or it shouldn't be his job to go around and inspect all the trash cans every single week. That's my job, to take care of the petty little things so that he can worry about the most important things. As a helper in a Sunday school class, it's not it's your teacher's job to teach the children, so it's your job to do whatever you can to make their job easier. Yeah. Come on. Make sure the classroom is ready to go. Watch your teacher and help them with the kids and get them things for them so that they can focus on more important things. That's your job as the servant. If your boss or your leader has to hold your hand and tell you everything to do and make sure you're working, guess what? They don't need you. If pastor has to send me a text or call me in the office every single day and give me my list of jobs every single day because I'm not mature enough or not smart enough to know what's supposed to be my job, or to look around and find something to do, guess what? He has better things to do. He might as well just hire somebody else to do those things because I'm not doing my job. When you show up and your teacher shouldn't have to tell you every single thing it's your job to do. You should just know it's my job to make her job easier. My job to make his job easier. Whatever I can do to make that happen, that's my job. And just do it. Yeah. Number 2, show some initiative. A need seen is an assignment given. You ever heard that? My dad hammered that into my head growing up. You walk by a piece of trash, guess what? Someone needs to pick that up. And if you walk by it and go, someone needs to pick that up. Oh, can't believe someone threw that on the floor. And walk on by, guess what? That was your job. If you saw it and you saw it needed to be done, it was your job. If you go into the church bathroom and someone has put paper towels on the floor and there's stuff everywhere, it's not your job to walk in and go, man, someone really should clean that stuff up. Yeah. If you see it, guess what? It's your job. Right. Take the initiative and do it without being asked to do it. What is? You need to anticipate. discover what your boss needs before they even know they need it.
Right.
Watch your teacher. Watch your leader, whatever realm you find yourself in. Watch them, and you know what they want. You know the direction that they're going, and take care of things and have them ready for them before they even realize that they need them. I have an advantage in working for a pastor. I'm his son, and I probably know him better than most others that work underneath him. And I know how he thinks, and him and I, in some ways, we think a lot alike. And I know what he wants and what he expects, and I love it when it's a challenge to me I love it when he texts me or calls me today, let's make sure this gets taken care of. Already done, preacher.
Yeah.
Already got it. I have studied you, I have learned to watch you and to learn from you. I know what you would want, so I already took care of it before you even asked. That shows initiative, and you need to anticipate what they might need. I remember years ago, Brother Ray Clark was up here, and he was doing our TNT one Wednesday night. He was preaching in the main service, and I asked him to preach in TNT. And I remember him getting up, and it was a test, but I didn't realize it was a test. He got up, and I introduced him, and he got up in front of the teenagers there, and I was sitting in the back. It was in my junior high classroom now, and he made this statement. I said, man, I'm sure I'm thirsty. And he went on to teach.
Yeah.
That statement, I sure am thirsty, I jumped up, went out, got a bottle of water, came back in, and I handed it to him, and I went and sat down. I didn't realize that I was being tested at the time. But his lesson that day was something along the lines of being a help to your authorities. And he said, I was at, he told the teacher, I tested Brother Dave there. I want to see if he would pass the test. Because I didn't ask for a bottle of water. I just mentioned I am thirsty. And as someone who was watching out for that leader, I went and did my best to solve that problem without being asked to do it. Last night, I don't know if any noticed, my voice was having a rough time, and I finished preaching. And when I went and sat down, Brother Stephen was pouring me a drink over here. I didn't ask for tea. I didn't ask for something for my throat. But he noticed that I could use something, and before I even realized I needed it, without me asking, he showed the initiative and went and got me something that would help my throat, and I was impressed. Yeah. Don't always be the worker or the helper that has to be told everything that you need to do. Sit there with your hands in your pocket. Well, teacher hasn't told me anything, so kids are in the back goofing off, but the teacher hasn't told me to do anything yet, so I'm just going to stand here and watch. And no, you anticipate what needs to happen. And you go and you solve those problems before your leader even realizes there is a problem. Number 3, don't find problems, find solutions to problems.
Come on. Yeah, amen.
I remember years ago as a kid, I remember hearing Jack Hyles preach, and he encouraged everybody, go get your dictionary.
Yeah, amen.
Go to the C's. And there were 2 words he had you take out, quit and can't. So go cut those 2 words out of your dictionary. Those words shouldn't even be in your vocabulary. I often work with teenagers, send them to go do a job, and they're like, I can't do that. So why not? Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, no, instead of saying you can't, why don't you just say, I didn't try very hard and I'm lazy.
Right.
I went to do the job and it didn't work the first time I tried, or it was a little bit hard, so I came back and said, I just can't do it. My kids try this to me all the time. The other day, my kid was, my kid, Gunner. Well, we were getting some of the summer stuff off the hill there and had to come down the hill, and he found a box of toys, a big action packer full of toys. Daddy, I want this. All right. So I'm getting tools and whatnot. If you want those, you got to get them down the hill. Yeah. Now there was a much easier way to get it down the hill. He could have carried around all the trees and the bushes, but instead he just thought, I'm just going to go from here to down the hill is the shortest distance in the straight line, and I'm going right through all these bushes, all these little willow sticks, everything else. And he was trying to push that, he's up against 3 or 4 of these little bitty tree, bushes. He's trying to push it over there. I said, Daddy, I can't. I said, yeah, no, I said, don't, you can't.
Amen.
Figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
You can get it down. If you want it bad enough, you can get it down.
Right.
And as I was working, I watched him for about 30 to 40 minutes. He pushed and pulled and was stepping on bushes and pushing again and stopped and he'd look at it, look around, and he'd tilt it up, and guess what? We got it down.
Amen.
And he was very happy with himself when he finally did it.
Amen.
And you could be happy with yourself if you quit telling yourself, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. No, just figure out a way to do it. My dad used to tell me growing up, he said, don't come to me with a list of reasons why you couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
Come to me and tell me all the obstacles that you had to overcome in order to get the job done.
There you go.
But you can get it done if you just figure it out. You may have to ask for some help or some advice, but don't come back and say, I just can't, it can't be done, I can't do it. No, you can do it. Figure it out. Number 4, learn what your boss likes and focus on doing that better instead of doing what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in my position I just really don't enjoy doing. But I know that what pastor likes, and I focus on doing those things and making sure that first thing I do every Sunday morning, I'm one of the first ones there. Me and Jeremy get there around 7 or so, and I walk in the auditorium, put the light switch on, and I check all the lights, make sure all the light bulbs are working. Now, there are times where after I leave the auditorium, sometimes the next person comes in, puts lights on, and the bulb goes out. It happens sometimes. But that's one thing, is a pet peeve of his,
Yeah.
to walk in the auditorium and see a bulb out and have to watch that for the next 4 hours in church. He doesn't like it. There's some other things about our building that he just wants a certain way, and because I know that's what he wants, I check those. I used to work at Safeway when I worked at, I started about age 14, and I worked there for about 3 or 4 years or so, and I loved it. I had an awesome manager who taught me a lot, and I just enjoyed watching him and how he managed the store, and I learned a lot from him. But after working there a few years, he gave me a prized position, I guess it was. I worked from 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. I was the first courtesy clerk, bagger, cart rounder up, or whatever you want to call it, to show up. And because I was there early, it was my job to help clean the store. It was my job to help make sure everything was nice, and he was very adamant about, he wanted the store to look nice. It irritates me now when I go to Safeway. It's not the way he used to clean the store and keep it, and I want to walk around barking or, hey, someone clean that over there. The manager I worked for would want that clean. Someone clean that up. But he had to have it about every 3 days, maybe 2 days. He would get a rag. He'd get a dirty old rag that was used and go get it wet. And up and down all the cold aisles, the dairy aisles and the frozen aisles, there were little chrome bumpers on the side to keep you from bumping your cart into stuff. And he'd do a little duck waddle up and down each of those aisles and wipe down that chrome up and down those things, because he wanted the chrome to be dusted and to look good. And I began noticing that as I was doing my other, I had my other duties that I was required to do, but I began noticing my manager almost crawling on his hands and knees up and down 3 or 4 aisles that they had there, and he was washing all of that. I said, there's no reason my manager should have to be doing that.
Amen.
So I started taking on myself. First thing I did, and he came in about 7:30, I came in at 7. So before he got there, I would make sure that chrome was looking pretty good. And then he'd get there, and there were times when I watched him. I never told him I'm doing this, but I saw there were times when he would grab the rag and he'd walk over and, that was done. He didn't know how it got done. I just knew this is something that this is important to him, and I'm going to make sure I get it done for him. He had to have it every morning he came in. Every morning he came in, he took a hose up, and he would spray down the entire sidewalk of Safeway out past the first row of vehicles. And then it was my job to come along and sweep up everything that he had pushed out there. He was adamant about that store being clean every single morning. And I offered a few times to do that for him, but that was just something he enjoyed doing. He enjoyed spraying that down, greeting the customers as they came in every morning. But there were several times where he just didn't have time, and that was my job, and I took it on myself. This is important to him. I'm going to make sure it gets done. Don't do just the jobs that you enjoy or just what you like to do. Find out what is important to your boss, your leader, your parents, and make that a priority in your life. Pastor likes the window ledges outside the church as you go around. He likes the dust cleaned off of those things. And you get a rag, you go through and wipe them down. I check them every time I walk in the building, and either I do it or I ask someone else to do it. That's important to him. Yeah. He likes the trash picked up from our church building all the way to the Steese Highway, and then all the way down the Steese Highway in front of the church. Yeah. Now, personally, I think, hey, why don't we just clean in front of the church? That's our property. Let everybody else clean their property. No, he wants people, as they approach the church, everything to be clean. As they drive past the church on the highway, he likes the trash to be picked up out there. And because it's important to him, it becomes important to me. And I make sure that gets done. Learn what your leader likes. Number 5, show gratitude to and for your leader. You work a job, thank your boss for hiring you, for teaching you, for training you, for being patient with you. Someone has to teach you how to do it. And guess what? You're going to make mistakes along the way. And someone has to be patient with you and help you. Thank them for hiring you, or thank your teacher for allowing you the privilege of helping them. You know, there are others that they could get to help them. Be grateful that someone would allow you to be their servant. Don't feel entitled for anything. Well, I deserve this job. Right. Well, you know, someone else can get it. Amen. Show gratitude. Number 6, learn to work while you talk. Yeah. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with talking while you're working. I had some guys come help me do some firework the other day. About 5 or 6 teenage boys, junior high teenage boys. And once they all got there, we had a little meeting. First thing I said was, if you have to stop working to talk, stop talking. Amen. And work. Yeah, man. I lined them up. I said, I am not the Brother Dave you all know and love today. I'm your boss today. Okay? I am paying you for a service, and I'm gonna get my money's worth. Amen. I'm not your mama. I'm not gonna come by and swab your little head and wipe the sweat off of you and feel sorry for you because you're working so. No, you're my employee today. And I'm gonna work you. Yeah. And I had to come over and show them how an old man can work faster than them sometimes. I said, they're hauling firewood. Pick up a log and walk over and put it down. I said, this ain't gonna cut it. I said, God gave you 2 hands. There should never be less than 2 logs in your hand. Right. And I said, and God gave you, hey, I don't know what you call it, but a circumference that can hold a lot of logs. I said, wrap your arms around them and carry them and set them down. Now all the guys that were there were looking at each other, yeah, that was you. But a couple of them liked to talk. And they had to carry a log, and once they got the log in hand, they started walking it. Once they started talking, they had to stop working to talk. I said, no, then stop talking. Yeah. Your job isn't there to talk. Your job is to work and get the job done. And by the way, your cell phone, if you're in a Sunday school class, you're on a bus route, you're working for somebody, they're not hiring you to stay on your cell phone and talk to all your buddies and look at Facebook, look at Instagram. No, put your cell phone in your pocket and serve your leader. Do what you're there to do. Number 7, it's your job to fill your boss's gaps. Step up and help your boss accomplish things that they are weak in. Every boss, every leader has some weaknesses or just some things that they just don't enjoy doing or things that they're not very good at doing. Don't complain about their weakness. I wish my boss was better at this. I wish he kept a cleaner store. I wish my boss kept a cleaner classroom. I wish they were more prepared. Instead of complaining about that weakness, you step up and fill that gap.
Amen.
And help them with whatever that weakness is. One of my weaknesses is paperwork and certain kinds of organization. Now, I can organize a tool room. I enjoy that. I can organize my bedroom. As we've been in this camper, I've been making notes. I'm going to fix this over here. I'm going to change that. I'm going to get some little bins over here, put some lights over here. I enjoy organizing that kind of stuff. But you put a pile of paperwork on my desk and make it, I have to go through that and organize it. I hate that. I hate sitting at my desk doing that kind of stuff. Amen. Nehemiah is good at organization. I don't know if he enjoys paperwork, but he takes a lot of that from me because I'm just not good at it. If I had to sit down and make a devotional, but the Nehemiah wrote the devotional, found the verses for it, put it all together in the book, and he and Emily did this together. If I had to sit down and write a devotional, here's what I would do. I would sit down and stare at the paper for an hour and a half and go, I know what I want to put down here, but I have a hard time putting my thoughts together and organizing it. Preparing a message, a sermon, is one of the most difficult things I do every single week. I have a verse, I have a truth, but then to sit down, to stand up and read a verse and give a quick truth, that's not going to cut it in a 45-minute service, teen church. I have to have some content there, but that's difficult for me to sit down and just to organize. I have ADD, I have ADHD, I don't know where it is. My mind wanders. I think of all the stuff I should be doing instead of sitting down on my desk doing whatever it is. And I thank God for people who, in fact, I wasn't even planning on doing a devotion this year because I didn't want to sit down and do it, and I've had other people do it in the past, and Brother Nehemiah had a meeting, so I've already got that all taken care of.
Amen.
Really? Sweet. And that's as a leader, I like it when somebody knows what I need done before I even know I need it done.
Yeah.
And they've already got it lined out and working on it, and they fill the gaps that I have, and they help me with my weaknesses. Number 8, almost done. Never talk bad about your leader.
Yeah. Amen.
Your teacher may have some annoying habits about them. Your bus captain may just have something about them that just irritates you. Guess what? Suck it up.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody about it. Don't complain to your parents about it. Don't complain to your friends about it. You may work for a boss that's just irritating sometimes. That's fine. He's the boss. She's the boss. You're not. When you're the boss, then you can fix that problem. And if you have a problem with your leader, you go to your leader alone and say, you know what?
Amen.
I have a problem with this. You don't have to change it. Just want you to know if I can help you with this, I'd love to. But you don't talk bad about your business where you work. Oh man, they don't pay you near enough. The benefits are lousy. Or man, this teacher, you're doing you and them no good. You don't talk bad about other employees. You go to them in person with any problems or other workers. There may be a worker that you don't like. Oh, they make me do everything. Okay, then do everything. Don't talk bad about somebody else. Number 9, write things down as they give you instructions.
Yeah.
I worked at Earth Movers for 3 years. I loved that job. There's a gold mine, and I offered heavy equipment and stuff. But there were times when we'd be at the shop, and we had a couple auctions. The guy used to own a huge road work construction company, and had all kinds of equipment and a huge tool second floor in the building that was just full of tools and full of parts for trucks and everything else. And he didn't need all that, so we had an auction. So my boss, who went to our church, was the foreman, Brother Ron Drops, Jared Drops' dad. He was my foreman, and he would walk me through the yard outside. Okay, I want to combine these 2 pallets here, put that pallet up by the shop. I want to do that one, grab this pallet over here, move it over there, grab that truck, move it over there. And I found out real quick after a couple of days, I can't remember all this stuff.
Yeah.
And after a couple of days of him saying, hey, where's that pallet? What pallet? The one over there I told you to bring over here. Oh, I forgot that one. And I learned real quick, after a couple of days, I put a little notebook in my pocket. And I would follow him around. Every time I said, wait, can you repeat that again? What am I supposed to do with this? And I'd write it down.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure everything he told me got done. And you may have a teacher that gives you a list of instructions and says, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. And just because you have a bad memory and only remember one of those is no excuse. Figure out a way to remember what your leader needs and write it down if you have to. Give them updates on the progress you're making. Maybe they give you a project. All right, in 2 weeks, I want you to have a lesson prepared. I want you to have an illustration prepared, and they may give you some details. Don't make them wonder for 2 weeks if you remembered. Don't make them wonder for 2 weeks. Are they getting it done? Do they know what they're doing? Give them updates. So, teacher, I just want you to know I've been working on this lesson. There's the verses I'm going to use, and I've been preparing this. And I think God's going to give me the rest of it. I've been working on this project you gave me. How about supplies together? I'm just going to keep doing. Give them some updates on what you're doing, so they're not wondering if you forgot how to do or what to do. Lastly, we're done. When given a job or a project, own it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Make it yours. Don't go tackle the job and say, oh, my boss wants me to do this. Mom told me to go rake the leaves. Now you got to go rake the leaves. It's Mom's job, not mine. I don't want to do this. It's Mom's project she gave. No. Once it's given to you, guess what? It's now yours.
Yeah.
And you need to own it and do it as if that boss were doing it instead.
Right.
Meaning you know how they want it done, and you do it to the level, you do it to the perfection that they would want it done.
Right.
Your mom tells you to go clean the garage. My kids try this all the time. Go clean the garage. All right. You go downstairs, throw a few things in a toy box, put a few shoes up on the shelf, come upstairs. Garage is clean. Is it clean the way I would clean the garage? Well, it's clean. Let's go downstairs. What's that? What's that? Why is that over there? Pick that up over there. Pick that up over there. No, you do it as if I were standing here working with you, and that should be your job. When your teacher leaves the classroom for whatever reason and says, all right, you're in charge, you work with kids. What would your teacher be doing right now if they were there and you do that?
Yeah.
Not whatever you want to do. Do it as if your boss had done it. And lastly, chances are, depending on how the structure is and wherever you work or whatever it is, for instance, at the church, okay, a lot of the times when I give Chad a project, or I give Nehemiah a project, or I give Nathan Trombley a project, guess who oftentimes gave me that project first? Pastor. The pastor often sends me a text and says, hey, have one of your guys do this. He'll be walking in the church. Pastor drives around the property every single morning when he arrives at church. He just looks around, asks me whose car is out over there. His pastor does not recognize vehicles. Sometimes he asks me, whose truck is that? That's mine, Dad. Mine. Sometimes there's random vehicles in the parking lot. He's just wondering whose they are, or are they abandoned, or what's going on. But there's certain doors he wants to make sure. If he sees trash outside the cold storage. By the way, if you work in the church kitchen, you walk out that cold storage door. There's a really nice bin right there that Brother Mike Moore built for. You know what that's for? Trash. It's got trash cans in it that hold trash. Okay, here's how it works. You lift the lid, pick the bag up, put it in the trash can, and close the lid. I know. We may have to draw some instructions back there sometimes, a picture and everything else. But for some reason, people can open that door, put the trash outside, and go in, because I know it's a lot of work to go around the door and open the lid and put trash in the trash can. But if he drives by and sees that trash there, he'll send me a message, hey, have one of your guys do this. So I will pass that job on to one of my guys that's working for me. And guess what happens if one of those guys does not get the job done? Guess who Pastor calls?
Yeah.
He doesn't call one of the guys.
That's right.
He calls me and says, hey, why is that not done?
Right.
My fault, Pastor.
Right.
My fault. I should have checked up on that. But when he gives me that project, I have to own it.
Yeah.
And I have to double check and make sure it gets done. And when I pass that project on to somebody, I expect them to own it. And say, I'm gonna do this as if pastor were doing it and do it the way he wants it.
Right.
Every one of you, every one of us has the privilege of serving someone.
Yeah.
Maybe parents. God says, as you're serving your master, don't serve to be seen. Serve as if you're serving God, and God says, I'll reward you.
Yeah.
You do it as if you're serving me. You do it to please me. I'll make sure you get rewarded. I don't want to lift myself up as any kind of example, but I've enjoyed, actually miss. There are times I miss working out in the secular world. I work for my dad now. He kind of has to love me. Okay? But I do miss some parts of working at Safeway, some parts of working at Earth Movers or Guest Foods where I worked, and a few other places out not gold inflation, and there's parts that I miss. And God blessed. And I put some of these truths to practice when I worked for those people I worked under. And I watched God bless me through those authorities that I had.
Yeah.
God gave me privileges that others did not have. That manager at Safeway, I was a courtesy clerk, and the pay only went so high, and then you got promoted to stocking shelves and that kind of thing. Well, I was the senior courtesy clerk, the senior bagger, or whatever else, so I had that good shift, 7 to 3. I'd come in first thing in the morning, and I'd go home while all my co-workers that did courtesy clerk work, they came in at noon to 8. They came in at 3 to 11, 4 to midnight. While everybody else is out of hockey games, they're the ones working.
Yeah.
And I was there when I first started. All my friends would come in and get sodas. Where y'all going? Hockey game? Oh, okay. I'm here till midnight. Then they'd come in after the hockey game. We get more sodas just to rub it in. Yeah, it's a great game. What are you doing? I'm still working. Midnight. While they're all off doing fun stuff, I'm working. Well, I worked my way up in seniority, and I had the morning shift, and my boss called me in one day and said, Dave, I want to promote you, but I don't want you to get stuck with that lousy shift. I said, well, I don't want lousy shift. He said, I'm willing to stay right where I'm at. I said, how about we do this? He said, I love the way you clean the store in the morning, and the morning staff, they enjoy working with you. Here's what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a special position that nobody else has.
Amen.
Okay? He said, we're gonna call you a courtesy clerk so you can get this morning shift, but in the afternoon, once the other 2 courtesy clerks come in, then you can go to the back and you can stock shelves and do whatever else you wanna do. And that way we can also give you the next pay increase, but you can keep your morning shift, and I want you to keep cleaning the store. Yes, sir. You got it. God stepped in and blessed and gave me some privileges other people there did not have.
That's right.
When I worked at Earth Movers, I worked there for 2 years out the mine, and there were several days where they wanted us to work 7 days a week. If the gold's coming in, we're gonna get the gold, and we were working a lot of hours. And I went to my boss and I said, I can't work on Sundays.
Yeah.
I got a bus route. I got responsibilities in church, and he liked me for some reason, and he said, all right, I'll give you Sundays off. I had to work Saturdays. Missed my bus route then. For the next year, I came to my boss and said, boss, I have a ministry on Saturdays. I don't want to work Saturdays and Sundays. He said, all right, I'll give you Saturdays and Sundays off. You know that some of the ridicule I got from some of my coworkers? How come the kid, I was called the kid, or Duffett. How come the kid gets to go home on the weekends and we have to work? The boss gave me time off. Let's go ask the boss if you have time off. I don't know, I just asked. He gave it to me. And there were a couple of guys there that wrote church. How come he gets all this special privileges? And then the last year I worked there, I knew I'd be coming on to church. And so I went to my boss. My boss called me, Jim Thurman, said, Dave, I want to hire you back this summer. I would get I'd get laid off in the wintertime when there wasn't any mining for about 3 months, and I'd come back and I said, well, I said, I'd love to come back, but I want you to know, I'm gonna be taking over a position of the church, and I'm gonna need a week off for camp. I'm gonna need 2 or 3 weeks off for Bible time, and I even threw in a revival service down in Manna Baptist with Phil Kidd preaching, so I need to go down there as well. So I'm gonna need 5 weeks off this summer. So if you need to hire somebody else, I understand, and I'm also gonna need my Saturday, Sundays off. And that's fine, I'll give it to you, I just want to hire you back.
Amen.
All right? You should see the response I got from some of those guys. And I said, hey, I'm leaving. Where are we going? I won't be here next week. Why not? We're going to camp. Camp? A team camp? So we're working 7/12, and you get to get off for Saturday and Sunday and go to a camp.
Amen.
Boss likes me. And you're a jerk. But you know what? I learned it wasn't anything, these other guys were way more experienced than I was. But I noticed one thing, as I worked, I watched what my boss liked, and I watched how he did it. I'll never forget, one more story, I'm done. There was one mechanic we had, he had a foul mouth, he was just an idiot. Thought he was all that in a bag of potato chips, but he wasn't. And he did not like the fact that I was getting off on the weekends and, doing whatever else. He was a mechanic, and he was tired of being in, working everything while me, the kid, was out running the equipment and doing the fun stuff. But one day the road was getting kind of rough coming in, potholes and whatever. And the big boss, Thurman, told this guy, say, hey, go over there, grab the D9 over there and smooth out the road. I was running the excavator over there, and I was watching the guy. And, all you gotta do is just drop the blade and back up and smooth it out. He backs up, drops the blade, starts pushing dirt. He's got a mound of dirt flying over the blade here, and he has no clue what he's doing. And I'll never forget, the boss walked over to me. He liked running the excavators. He said, kid, get out of there. I'm gonna run that. He said, go over, he mentioned the guy's name. He said, go over and tell him you're gonna fix the roads. I told him to smooth the road, not block the road. I have to admit, I took great pleasure. In walking over, he said, hey, Jim said you get out, I'm gonna do this because you have no clue what you're doing. Oh, he cussed me a blue streak. He was one who complained about the boss every chance he got.
Right.
The pay was never enough. But always worked too many hours. His last job was always better, but he got fired from that job because of his lousy attitude. He always showed up late and was never on time. Always wanted to leave early. And I always wondered why. How come I don't get all the privileges and benefits that you get? Well, I showed up a half hour early every day. Because I always figured, my dad taught me that when it's time to work, you're there to work, not getting there and sipping your coffee and, oh, now I have to get my coveralls on and do this. Now I gotta go to the bathroom over here. Now I gotta get this over here. And you're doing your own stuff for 20, 25 minutes on the clock.
Man, that's good.
You're the privilege of serving. When you show up to serve, you're not serving the individual. You're serving God.
Yeah.
God says, you do it as unto me, and I'll bless
Amen.
you. And I'll give you blessings in your boss's eyes as well. And you gotta show up to work and determine, I wanna be the most valuable employee my boss has. Show up on time, do what you're asked to do, and all the while saying, God, I'm gonna honor you and doing what I'm doing. I'm doing this for you. Lord, thank you for these young people. I know we went a little long this morning.